Hipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are back with another Leviathan painting tutorial. Yes, we have the Apothecary Biologis with us here before you. He's awesome. He's very, very big, which is what you would expect from an Apothecary, and he's very, very cool. So massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending me him as part of the Leviathan box. And we're going to be jumping in and we're going to start painting him. Now he has been primed in grey Seer because the rest of our Space Marines were primed in grey Seer. You could prime him in white Scar primer if you wanted to, but we've got a really cool white recipe here for you today. So we're just going to jump in and start doing it. And the colour we're going to be using is Soulblight Grey. And we're going to just apply this over the top of all of his white armour. Now the only place that isn't going to be white is his shoulders. But otherwise, he is white all over. So with that done, you should have some beautifully shaded white armour, and we're not going to leave it at that colour, because what we are now going to do is brighten it right back up by using some thinned down Corax White. And we're going to apply this over the top of the entirety of the armour, just avoiding anywhere where that Soulblight Grey has really settled. So with that now done, you should have a beautifully bright white and lovely shaded Apothecary Biologis. Now, that colour is going to look even more intense as we start adding other ones, and it was important to do this now because if we make any mistakes, you can just go in and correct it with some Corax White. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion now, and we're going to use this on all of our black details. So this is going to include quite a few areas. So firstly, we're going to want to apply this over the top of areas such as these pipes. Like that sort of thing. I'll do the other one on the other side in just a moment. We're also going to apply this over any of the soft joints in his armour. Like that. We're going to apply this over the top of the casings of the pistol, the tank, and his medical gear up here, as well as the leather pouches and belts. So with all of that Black Legion applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Baal Red. And we're going to apply this over the top of his apron. And we're also going to apply this over the top of his shoulder pads. Whilst we're waiting for that Baal Red to dry, we're going to take some Skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over the top of the Purity Seal just down here. And with that now done, we're going to take some Iyanden Yellow. I'm going to apply this to this little cable just in here. So with that now done, we're going to take some Blood Angels Red and we're going to apply this over the top of any of the little Medicae symbols. And so with that now done, we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Contrast Medium and Blood Angels Red, and we're going to use this to shade his apron and his shoulder pads. And with that now done, we're going to take a little bit of Flesh Tearers Red. I'm going to use this to paint in the Purity Seal, the wax of it just here. And we're also going to use this on his eye lenses. So with that done, believe it or not, it is now time to do some metallics. Now he's looking pretty much, well, 3 colours, but this is where he's going to start to really come alive. So first colour that we're going to use is some thinned down Retributor Armour. I'm going to be applying this over all of his kind of fabulous details. So we've got the Aquila here on his chest. Got the little skull on his right arm and on the pistol as well. We've got the skull on his knee. And we've got the wings on this shoulder. However, that little Medicae symbol that you can see there, we're going to leave that as white. do want to get the skull. So with all of that gold now applied, we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors and we're going to apply this over, well, pretty much all of our remaining details. So what we're going to do is we're going to start picking out areas such as his instruments, like this one just here, little viewing lens. We've got all of the servo arms on his back. There's laser eye on the helmet. We've got the mechanical areas of his bolt gun. Got the large wires and pipes on his back. There's a whole lot of silver details to this guy. I'm going to put this Iron Warriors over the top of all of them. So with that done, it's time to add some shades to the model. And the first one is going to be some Reikland Fleshshade. I'm going to apply this over the top of all of the gold. And with that now done, we're going to take some Nuln Oil. I'm going to use this to shade all the silver and all the black. And if you really want to, at this point, what you can do is you can use the Nuln Oil to add a little bit of extra shading to areas you want to be a little bit darker on the white. So for example, you could add a little bit of Nuln Oil just in the recesses, just there. Like that. Same for the vents on the side. A little bit in there maybe. That kind of thing. But it is entirely up to you. So with that done, our Apothecary Biologis is now what I would call a War Hipster battle ready. However, he's clearly not finished because he does have all those computer screens and things all over him, including this lamp up here, which is going to, again, go some way towards making him look absolutely fantastic. So in order to do that, we're going to take him to the next level. And we're going to do this by adding some highlights and, of course, some layers when we get to those gems and things. So the first highlight we're going to add is some thinned down white scar. And we're just going to start picking out all of the edges of his armour. So with that all done, the armour is now finished. So we can move on to our next colours. And we are going to go in the same order that we went in before. I'm going to use some thinned down Dawnstone to highlight all of our black details. So with that now done, we're then going to take a little bit of Administratum Grey I'm going to use this to pick out the sharp corners on all his black details. So with those black details all finished, it's now time to take some thinned down Evil Sunz Scarlet. I'm going to use this to highlight only his apron. Picking out the raised areas in the folds of the fabric. And so with that now done, we're then going to take some thinned down Fire Dragon Bright, and we're going to use this to highlight all of the red details. So we're going to pick out, firstly on the apron, we're going to pick out the sharpest points in the fabric. Like that. And then similarly on all our little Medicae symbols, for example, we're going to remove that tiny little hair from the end of the brush. We're going to highlight all of those. We're also going to highlight the purity seal. And we're going to add a little line going across the middle of his eye lens. So with that done, the red is all finished. So we can now take some thinned down Liberator Gold, and we can use this to highlight all of the gold. So with all that Liberator Gold applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Ironbreaker. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the silver. However, one thing we're also going to do here with the Ironbreaker is we're going to relayer anywhere that's going to be kind of like a shiny screen or a button or something. So for example, in here, we have a little window into the contents of the tank. So we're just going to apply the Ironbreaker like that all over that little section, and then around it we're going to highlight. So with that now done, it is time to sort out all of those shiny bits. So the first colour we're going to be using is some Ork Flesh. And we're going to apply this over the little computer screen down here. like that. And we're going to apply this over the top of his eyepiece. Like that. With that Ork Flesh applied, we're then going to take some Frostheart. I'm going to apply this over the square buttons. Down here. Like that. A little bit more. There we go. And we're going to apply this over the top of this little lens. Just up there like that. And round on the back. I'm going to apply this over the top of the square buttons again. Like so. And we're going to apply this over the viewing glasses. And with that done, we're then going to take some Blood Angels Red, and we're going to apply this over the top of this little lens up here. Like that, and over the screen. Like that, and the triangle button. Just there like that. Next up, we're going to take some Bad Moon Yellow, and we're going to apply this over the top of the lamp. And with that now done, we're going to take Frostheart and Akhelian Green, and we're going to use this on the kind of contents of the tank. I'm going to use these at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to load up our brush with some Frostheart, and we're going to apply this all over the top of those little windows. Like that. Then we're going to wash the brush, grab a little bit of Akhelian Green, and then in the top section, I'm going to apply this like that. Wash the brush, and then what you want to do is very, very carefully use the brush to just smooth out those transitions by just kind of dabbing it in very gently to absorb, move the paint around. And in the bottom right corner, just want to take most of it off. If you need to, you can add a little bit more Frostheart in there. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Corax White, and I'm going to add some little highlights here. And they're going to look a little bit strange on some of them, but it's going to be all right. So what we're going to do on the green islands just here is we're going to add a little tiny dot. In the top right corner. Like so. We're going to do the same thing up on this red one. This blue one. Like so. And on the viewing lenses, up here, we're going to do the same thing. So top right corner. Like that. Now on the screen, on his arm, what we're going to do, add a very little narrow highlight going around the top left section. It's a little bit heavy, so we're just going to wash the brush and come in with a clean brush. Just wipe it off whilst it's still wet, like that. Dab it with my thumb to dry it. We're going to try that again, using a little bit less paint. Like that. And then we're going to add a little dot in the bottom right corner of the screen, like so. Similarly, on the inside of our windows, we're going to add a little line highlight in the bottom right corner of each of them. Just before we finish off those Corax White highlight bits, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Flash Gitz Yellow. I'm just going to apply this over the top of two large gaps in the searchlight. Like that. So with that done, we can now take a little bit of Ork Flesh. You don't really need a lot at all. And we're going to apply this over the top of the highlight. Just there like that. We're just going to do that on the screen. We don't need to do that anywhere else. And similarly on our windows down here, we're going to take a tiny amount of Frostheart. I'm going to apply this over the top of the white. And with that, our Apothecary Biologis is now finished, and I think he looks wonderful. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Templar now. I'm going to work on his base, and we're going to be using this Black Templar over the top of all of his rocks. And we're just going to go quickly here because, well, you can base him any way you like, and I'm going to be doing him in the same style as the rest of these Space Marine characters from the Leviathan box. So with that Black Templar all applied, we then take some Cygor Brown. I'm going to apply this over the top of all the soil. With that Cygor Brown all applied, we're then going to take some Luxion Purple. I'm going to apply this over the spiky stuff. And so with that now done, we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors and we're going to apply this over all of our metallic details on the base. And with that done, we're now going to take some Stirland Battlemire. I'm going to apply this over the top of all of the negative space. Now that Stirland Battlemire is all dry, we're going to take some Dark Angel's Green. I'm going to apply this into the little gaps that I've left in the Stirland Battlemire as part of my basing scheme for the Nuclear Wasteland bases. With that Dark Angel's Green all applied, we're then going to take some Nurgle's Rot. I'm going to apply this over the top of the Dark Angel's Green. And so with that done, we're now going to dry brush the entirety of the base with some Tyrant Skull. And with that done, just to finish him off, we're going to take some Valhallan Blizzard and we're going to apply this all around the solid areas of the base.
Now that the base is complete, our Apothecary Biologis is now finished, and he's off to go and research some Tyranids on the battlefield, whilst attached to some other Space Marines who aren't interested in researching, more in butchery. I'm a big fan of this model. I really like a Gravis guy. Gravis armor is always really, really nice to see, and having a Gravis Apothecary is cool. I just really want a Gravis Lieutenant now. More Gravis. More Gravis. And more Terminators. Just more big dudes. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so. Head to patreon.com/warhipster, just like these bosses have done, scrolling up on the screen before you, whose continued support helps me continue to make all the wonderful content that you enjoy. Alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button on the channel page or just below this video, like these wonderful, amazing people have done. And if you really like this video and you just want to shoot me a little thanks, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.